So Season 2 of Marvel Rivals is right around the corner, coming April 11th. That is next Friday, and there's definitely a few things that the game could definitely use quality of life-wise that I'd like to talk about going into Season 2. Now, there's two things we don't really need to talk about. The first thing is the memory leak problem, which seems to have already been resolved, in their plans at least, coming in Season 2, where if you saw my stream on Sunday, that problem where basically the game suddenly took all 32 gigs of my RAM, and I had barely anything left to even run the stream. YouTube was crashing, Twitch was crashing, but that problem seems to be on its own. Who the new characters are going to be? Well, we'll find out probably pretty soon who the first character at least is going to be. Probably both, and of course, most likely going to be Blade, who has been kind of the star of Season 1 and would most likely be a duelist. Of course, the second possibility would be the long talked about strategist Ultron, who we've been hearing about since well before Season 0. And then finally, the one that's been picking up some steam would be Vanguard Emma Frost of the X-Men. But let's talk about the things that actually are going to need to be changed. And I have three things I'm going to focus on, and one little nitpick. We'll do the nitpick right now. Now, the nitpick for me would be MVP. And when you go to your cosmetics, of course, there's different skins that are available for all the characters. We have, Blood Shield, Malice, all these different skins for Sue Storm, for example. But the problem is, only certain characters can use certain MVPs. So if I wanted to use the original Sue Storm with Malice, I can't. Malice has her own MVP, but if I wanted to use that with Blood Sphere, I can't. And this is one thing you have in Overwatch that makes complete sense, is basically allowing the person to choose what closing scene they use with their character for whatever skin they want. Now, the first problem I'm going to talk about may or may not be the most controversial of the three. I feel like most of you guys are going to agree with these points, at least in the second and third ones. But this one could be a little bit of a hot take here. And my problem here is with ranked. Now, it's not the ranks. Of course, you see bronze, you see silver, so on and so forth. You start receiving rewards at gold, and the problem, it's not the ranked tiers themselves. And I'm even okay with the fact there's going to be a rank reset at the start of Season 2. This is going to drop us 6 ranks versus 7 ranks, which happened from Season 0 to Season 1. And even I think that this could be modified into more of a natural, just, they want to reset rank, just do, play your matches, and then they place you in a tier. Because right now what we're seeing is this leads to, the problem right now is that rank is inflated. Your rank may be inflated. And here's the reason why. Because wins count way more than losses hurt. And this is leading to a problem with higher matches. The higher you get up and the more you're inflated, the more likely you're not where you need to be. And because of that, it leads to people being in ranks they don't deserve, playing against competition they're not prepared to handle, and having quality of match problems for other people. Now, of course, when you're playing matches against players that are way better than you, you're going to lose. And those teammates that are with you might get their ass kicked too. And I know a lot of people aren't thrilled with this whole hypothesis, but it is the God's honest truth that the fact that whether it's Chrono Shields blocking your regression every 4 matches in lower ranks, or just the fact that a win is worth almost twice as much as a loss costs you, it is very possible to have a losing record through every rank you gain and still be progressing upwards. And this is something I've really never seen to this extent in a game. And it definitely is a problem that should be looked at for Season 2. Now, I'm not saying to make it a 1-to-1 ratio. You can even make it, 1.2 to 1. Right now, losses aren't nearly as painful as they need to be to make ranks reflect what you should actually be. Problem 2, time gating. Everything in this game is time gated, and it's absolutely annoying, and it makes you not want to play the game. And here's the reason why. This is a PC console game, and I understand that NetEase is a company that has built their entire backbone and their entire fortune on mobile games, and they're treating it very much so, where they feed you little bits of locked content that you need to log on every day to play. And even with the pickup bundle, it is clearly locked behind time gated. You play your 3 matches, you collect your coin today if that's where you're at, and then you wait till tomorrow to get your chrono tokens, and then you play your 3 matches and you can get your nameplate. And they do this with everything. They've done this with their events. And, you know, whether it was the events earlier in the season where you got the Thor skin, or the event where you got the carved skin for Groot, you have to do every day to get these different little pieces to progress through. And with events, it's not nearly as bad as it is with the Battle Pass. My PlayStation Battle Pass is completed. I have gone through and done everything. We have a couple of days left. According to this, there's 9 days left for you to complete this Battle Pass. Now, of course, Battle Passes do not expire if you have purchased them within that time period. So, like, I could go and complete this if it weren't done, which is great. But this is one of the things we argued against in the beta. So as you go through, you can only earn things through chrono tokens. Now, I'm sure everyone's well aware that chrono tokens are the only source to actually progress through. When we were in the beta, trying to get to the Cyan Venom or anything higher they added at the last minute, like the name card or the spray, we complained that chrono tokens, which can only be received from daily missions or challenges, which are your bi-daily missions, are the only source of income to get chrono tokens. And this makes you basically log in every other day and play your missions until you're done. And then unless you really care about making a character lore, there's really nothing else to play for. The Battle Pass during the beta, they decided to listen to us, and they made you get a very, very tiny amount of XP towards your Battle Pass, which I guess in this case would be chrono tokens towards the Battle Pass, by playing matches. This is one of the things that you get with, say, Overwatch, where if you play Overwatch, you get the weekly, daily challenges that give you a chunk of XP towards your Battle Pass, but then if you play matches, you earn XP too. Now, I will commend them for not leaving us with a bunch of chrono tokens like they did in Season 0, where they gave us the conversion where every 1,000 you can turn into 100 units, which is great because then you can get, you know, more units going into next season, or maybe if there was a bundle you wanted to get at the end of this season. And that's awesome. And those are things that do help people make sure they get their chrono tokens daily and weekly. But the time gating makes me automatically, once I've done everything, log off. I don't care about lords. It's not something that drives me. So once I got my daily quests, or I got my daily and my challenges done, I'm like, what's the point of playing? And I know a lot of people who feel exactly like this because there's so many games out there that you want to play. It's very easy just to be like, I'm done. I'm not getting any more progress on my Battle Pass or on my event, or even now it looks like this is what they'll do with pickup bundles, that there's really no reason for me to continue playing this game. The third and final thing I think needs to really be addressed is balancing. Now, one of the biggest problems this game has is the length of their seasons. 90 to 100 days is a very long time. Characters that may be borked, that may be broken, that may be glitched, that may be not having the right calculators, go almost full seasons at this time, leads to a lot of problems with gameplay, and it leaves a lot of problems with balance. Now, they do have a big patch coming for the start of the season. They have a major patch at the mid-season for when they change the Season 1 Part 1 to Season 1 Part 2, which we're going to have next season as well. They're going to be split in halves, and that leads to a long period because those halves are about 6 weeks each. That is a very long time, and this is one of the things that causes a lot of problems. We had this with Hela in the second half, where she was broken for a very long time with no fall off, or we had the team ups that don't get changed from season to season. We had the same thing when coming out of Season 0, since it was a tiny season. And I understand that Season 0 was a little over 4 weeks. It was a very basically introductory period of Marvel Rivals, so they didn't change the team-ups. But when Season 1 goes to Season 2, that has to be something they address, because the team-ups, especially when they added like the Storm and Johnny's Storm one, where it's just fire tornadoes everywhere, these need to be addressed so that the game stays healthy. And unlike other, shooters they don't seem to address it very fast. It's not a swift thing. They take in a lot of data before they decide they're going to make some sort of balance change, whether it's a nerf or a buff to a character. And there's some you see that are just been bad out of the box, like Black Widow. Even her pick rates, like virtually non-existent in ranked. She's just been a bad character coming out of the box and needs a complete rework, but she hasn't been touched in a season and a half. This game has been out since December, and Black Widow's still in a really terrible spot. While other characters just seem to thrive like Hela for a season and a half. So you have this dichotomy of very strong characters and very weak characters that aren't being tweaked. It's not like we're getting like constant little ticky-tack minor adjustments pushing the bars up slightly or lowering them slightly on characters throughout the season. Now, I get why they're not doing team-ups from the mid-season. Like, give them the full season for a team-up, but they gotta change some stuff, because if we just keep seeing the same things over and over again, this is how the 3 support meta just became dominant. And these are situations that arise that make the game not fun. Quality of life is always important by balance. People want to feel like the game is fair. Even if I get my ass kicked one match, I know I can turn around and just say, hey, I played poorly this one, but I can come back in the next one and just play a little better, make better decisions, make better choices on how I handle my character, swap to a different choice that might work better for me in that situation. And these are the things in Season 2 that I want to see Marvel Rivals do that will make the game feel better. Like I said, the MVP thing's just a little ticky-tack thing that would just be more pleasurable for my experience. But the other 3 I feel need to be thoroughly addressed. And I think a lot of us would probably feel the same way. I don't think anyone enjoys the time gating. And everyone I hear when they picked up the pickup bundle was like, good God, more time gating. I hear people complaining balance every fucking day. I know it. You know it. So don't be that person now, but like, I think the game's always perfectly balanced. And the whole system of everyone's broken, no one's broken isn't exactly working for them. Now, I get it. This is not a discussion on open queue. I've done a very in-depth video on that. And if you want to see that, it's available. I'll even put a link in the description for you. But how they handle characters' actual balance, that is going to be up to them to do it much more rapidly. And I think most people will feel that, hey, the ranked adjustments actually are needed as well, especially the higher you get up. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below about my opinions of what needs to be done for Season 2 and beyond, in that case, for the quality of life of Marvel Rivals, because I would love to see this game succeed, but I know I have played much less in Season 1.5 than I did in Season 0 and Season 1, because I felt that all these things were broken. And I know it affected my enjoyment, and I know it affected a lot of other people as well. And I don't want to see that happening going forward, because I think this is a game that could do very, very well for very many years, and I want to see that going forward. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.